Doctor Who is amazing and brilliant and fantastic, but just like any other TV show, mistakes can and do happen. However, sometimes a mistake isn't a mistake at all. So with that in mind, I'm Ellie with Who Culture, here with 10 Doctor Who mistakes that were totally intentional. Number 10. Easy Rider, The Day of the Doctor. Right at the start of 50th anniversary special The Day of the Doctor, Clara gets a call from her intergalactic boyfriend and goes off to meet him. She spots the TARDIS parked by the side of the road and zooms towards it on her motorbike. Why couldn't he just go and, pick her up from work? Poor form, Doctor. Anyway, the TARDIS doors fly open and Clara rides straight into the central room. But hang on. Isn't there usually a set of steps in the entranceway just before you reach the main console? Well, yes, but those steps have vanished during this scene. This mistake was purely practical, with the steps being removed so the bike had a smooth floor to drive on. As for an in-universe explanation, well, the TARDIS is a sentient machine capable of transforming itself, so we're pretty sure it can remove a couple of steps. Number 9. Flipped Manipulator, The Empty Child. Time agent turned Torchwood Supremo Captain Jack Harkness is first introduced in the Series 1 two-parter The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances. Here we learn all sorts about this lovable rogue, that he's from the future, that he's attracted to anything with a pulse, and that he can travel through time using his wrist-mounted vortex manipulator. In one scene towards the end of The Empty Child, Jack uses his space hopper to scan one of the gas mask-wearing zombies. The device is clearly on his right wrist here, but just a few seconds later, it's moved to his left. As confirmed on the episode's commentary track, this was because the shot was intentionally flipped during editing. Something was clearly off and the filmmakers wanted to make the shot work better, necessitating the post-production shift. Ultimately, it's a very minor detail, but exactly the sort of thing that you can't unsee once you know it's there. Number 8. The Iron Cross, Genesis of the Daleks. Fourth Doctor serial Genesis of the Daleks sends our hero back to Skaro to prevent the creation of his most fearsome enemy. This was the first time we got to meet Davros, who looks significantly less threatening than he would in later appearances, along with Nyder, his right-hand man and head of security. Now, Nyder is not a particularly nice man. If his overall slimy demeanour didn't give it away, then just look at what he's wearing. He's clearly dressed like he's auditioning for the Nazi party. The Daleks were inspired by the Nazis in the first place, so this does make sense, right down to the big iron cross dangling from his collar. Partway through filming the serial, the production team decided that they wanted to tone down some of this Nazi-inspired imagery. As a result, the cross was removed from Nyder's costume, hence why it vanishes without explanation. Nyder doesn't exactly have great fashion sense, so this was probably for the best. Number 7. The Jacket Returns, Flesh and Stone. Another clothes-based mistake now, this one coming from Matt Smith's first two-parter, The Time of Angels and Flesh and Stone. After being cornered by a group of weeping angels in the second episode, it looks like there's no way out for the 11th Doctor. But fortunately for him, all they do is steal his jacket and let him run away. Weeping angels do love a bit of tweed, don't you know? However, just a few minutes after this happens, we see the Doctor giving a pep talk to Amy, and his jacket is back on. Continuity error? Nope. Time travel. At the time, there was all kinds of theories floating around to explain this apparent mistake. Was it a genuine blunder, or was it part of a grander plan for the series? Well, as we would later on find out, the version of the Doctor that talks to Amy is actually from the future, and thus he's found himself another jacket. It was a great bit of misdirection that further increased the excited discussions about the ongoing arcs of Series 5. Moffat, you are a sneaky devil. Number 6. A load of sheet, Battlefield. By the time season 26 of Classic Who rolled around, it's no surprise that certain sets were starting to wear down, including the TARDIS itself. After the recording of The Greatest Show in the Galaxy during the previous season, the centre console and the walls that made up Gallifrey's finest time machine were in a serious state of disrepair. As a result, the walls were junked, meaning that there wasn't a TARDIS set available to use. This proved quite problematic while filming Battlefield, the first serial of season 26. How do you shoot a TARDIS scene without any TARDIS walls? Well, the production crew worked around this issue in a fairly clever way. They hung up a sheet and dimmed the lights so nobody could tell. If you look closely, you can actually make out the creases and folds in the sheet. Ace even mentions how dark it is in the episode, and the Doctor, perfectly in character, doesn't provide a satisfactory explanation. With the TARDIS in such a bad way, maybe it's a good thing that the old girl was about to take a 16-year holiday from our screens. Number 5. Horny Helmets, The Girl Who Died. You ever meet someone who loves to correct you on annoying pieces of trivia? Well, those people would have had a field day with this Viking-themed episode from Series 9, where the 12th Doctor and Clara end up in a Viking village and encounter Maisie Williams' Ashilda. They also encounter a bunch of your typical Vikings. Big beards, love to fight, horned helmets. Excuse me, said that person. Vikings didn't actually have horns on their helmets. That design can actually be traced to an entirely different society, thank you very much. First of all, yes, random person, you're right. Second of all, writer Jamie Matheson knew this full well but chose not to explain it, finding that this misconception about Viking armour was rather amusing. It's hardly an immersion-breaking detail, since most of us believe that Vikings wore horned helmets anyway, but it would have been cool if the Doctor, being the smarty pants that they are, had acknowledged this in the episode. Number 4, wrong time, Aliens of London. The very first two-parter of the revived series was Aliens of London and World War III, in which the Doctor, Rose and Harriet Jones, we know who she is, do battle with the Slitheen. The big green buggers make their presence felt by crashing a spaceship into the River Thames. In perhaps the most famous shot from the episode, the wing of the spaceship cuts through one of the faces of Elizabeth Tower. Yes, Elizabeth Tower. Big Ben is actually the name of the bell. Thank you very much. However, if you look closely enough, you'll notice something wrong with the clock face. The numbers are the wrong way round. They get smaller as they go round clockwise, not bigger. As it turns out, this was because the team who made the model of the tower were initially told that the left wing of the ship was going to be the one doing the smashing, so that's how they filmed it. However, during post-production, it was decided that the right wing looked better. As a result, the shot had been flipped, which altered the layout of the clock. Number 3, late night performance, the Shakespeare Code. Another bit of historical inaccuracy now, this time courtesy of everyone's favourite sexy playwright. In Martha's first trip to the past with the 10th Doctor, they travel back to the year 1599 and to the much-famed Globe Theatre in London. Here they take in a performance of the play Love's Labour's Lost before embarking on an adventure involving the creation of its sequel. But here's the catch. Martha and the Doctor go and see the play during the evening, the time of day that most of us associate with going to the theatre. However, back in the time of Shakespeare, the Globe mostly held performances during the day. Why? Well, they didn't have electric lighting. That's the entire reason why the Globe has no roof, to let in as much sunlight as possible. The episode was originally scripted with daytime performances in mind, but when the production was told that they could only shoot in the new Globe Theatre at night, the script was changed to reflect this. It was also felt that the nighttime setting would add more of an ominous atmosphere to the episode, which is a spooky tale about witches and dark magic. So less lighting actually did make sense. Number 2, regenerating shoes, Logopolis. Logopolis is the serial where we said goodbye to the longest-serving Doctor of all time, Tom Baker. The 4th Doctor was around for over 150 episodes and is widely regarded as one of the best to ever take on the role. He's also the reason why Doctor Who fans can't offer you a jelly baby without doing a funny voice. All good things must come to an end, and Baker bid farewell to the show in 1981, regenerating into the 5th Doctor, Peter Davison. We all know that the Doctor's face changes when they die, but did you know that their shoes can also change? In the very next episode, the 5th Doctor is wearing different shoes to what the 4th Doctor wore when he regenerated. Apparently there's a very good reason for this, and a very funny reason at that. It's said that the long leather boots that Baker wore as part of his costume weren't from the wardrobe department. He owned them himself, so when the time came for him to get out, he took them with him. No Time Lord magic here, just one man who really liked his footwear. Number 1, Verity's questionable writing, The End of Time Part 2. The End of Time's farewell tour is one of the most iconic sequences in Doctor Who history. The conveyor belt of ex-companions the 10th Doctor says goodbye to might be too long and self-indulgent for some, but for fans of the David Tennant era, it's pure heart-wrenching bliss. One of the many folk Ten says goodbye to is Verity Newman, the great-granddaughter of the Doctor's human love interest Joan Redfern. Remember when he hid his Time Lordiness in a watch? There were scarecrows and the kid from Love Actually was there. The Doctor meets her at a signing for her book, which is based on Joan's interactions with John Smith. It's a neat little scene, but what you probably didn't notice is that Verity doesn't actually write anything while she's scribbling away. She's just hovering her pen above the paper. Clearly, actress Jessica Hines was told not to put pen to paper for whatever reason. Maybe the sound of writing distracted from the scene, maybe they just didn't want to ruin a perfectly nice book, or maybe it's some secret Gallifreyan writing technique we haven't heard of yet. Who knows? And that concludes our list. If you can think of any other mistakes that were intentional, then do let us know in the comments below. And while you're there, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap that notification bell so you never miss a Who Culture video ever again. Also, head over to Twitter and follow us there, and Instagram as well. And I can be found across various social medias just by searching Ellie Little Child. Don't forget to look out for Sean Ferrick and Dan the Meeks as well. I've been Ellie with Who Culture, and in the words of River Song herself, goodbye, sweeties.